What's up? What's up? Welcome back to the Fantasy Facts Machine. We have rounded out week 4, which used to be the first quarter of the season. Heading into week 5, I'm here with George the Truth Factory Fuchs. I'm Kev Lou, and we're going to be talking about the top rookies that are starting to break out this season. We had, after week 1, there were really no impressive rookies. I mean, Dameon Pierce was clearly, well, even Rex Burkhead after week 1 got more carries than Dameon Pierce. But now heading into week 5, some of the players are starting to, figure out their roles and kind of round out into, real players that can make a difference in the fantasy football season. Last year, I think if every, Amon-Ra St. Brown really came on at the end of the season as a rookie who was not really doing anything at the beginning. So they're definitely worth taking a look at, even the guys that aren't blowing up.
Yeah, and, the season's still early, but it takes rookies a little bit longer to adjust. They have to make sure the coach doesn't hate them right away. They have to learn, a bunch of different schemes. It's not just about pure talent, It's about being able to fit in the team. So, like the example we talked about, Dameon Pierce at first, pretty clearly he had no idea what to do in pass protection. The Texans know they're not going to be very good, but they're starting to trust him a little more, and they're starting to use him a little more. And yesterday you saw what happens when you give a guy a chance. A 75-yard run. He had, over 100 yards rushing. Again, it wasn't on a ton of carries by any means, 14, 15 carries, but he's the number one back there. You feel pretty good if he's one of the 2 running backs you're starting weekly now. Yeah,
and yesterday, Pierce, he proved that he can be that guy for them, given the opportunity.
And he will be going forward. Burkhead is going to get some third down carries, but it's Pierce's team, and there's nobody arguing that anymore.
Yeah, so, I mean, just to kick off our list, I mean, that's the first guy on my list of the top-performing rookies up to this point, just because he has established that role as the number 1 guy on their team, so he's going to get the opportunities for sure. He had 131 yards yesterday and a touchdown, which I believe was the 2nd touchdown of the season. And, he's a clear starter on a decent offense. Another guy who's really getting a lot of looks and kind of seems like the number 1 receiver on his team is Chris Olave on the Saints.
Yeah, I mean, Michael Thomas injured already, which sucks. Olave kind of goes hand in hand with Jameis just because how much Jameis is airing it out. Like watching the game yesterday, Dalton, I don't want to say he's entirely limited, but he's not going to be airing it out nearly as much as Jameis does. And Olave loves going for those deep balls, but he is getting a ton of playing time. He's getting a ton of opportunity. And if Thomas is injured longer than just a week or 2, I mean, the guy's like a pretty bona fide starter right now, and his upside is pretty massive.
Yeah, I agree with Jameis in there. He's going to get a couple bombs every game, which, gives you the potential to just rack up 10 points right away.
And say what you will about Jameis, he has a pretty incredible deep throw. The guy's got a hell of an arm, and he knows where to place it. So Olave catches a few of those, you have your week set.
Yeah, and one thing to note about Olave is he leads the league in air yards, which means that balls that have been thrown to him have covered more ground than balls that have been thrown to anyone else. Whether he caught them or not, it's still a point of interest.
Just getting those opportunities alone is
exactly. And then another guy who's starting to round out into his role is Romeo Dobbs on the Packers.
We love some Dubs here at Fantasy Facts Machine.
He's one guy we've been on the whole season.
Man, he dropped an absolute bomb at the end of regulation yesterday that would have finished the game. That probably would have put him in the lead for like Rookie of the Year votes. He
had a fumble too.
He did early on. He made an incredible catch on that play, and then just kind of was a little careless with protecting the ball. At that point, you just assumed Rodgers would never throw to him again, but he still found a way to get 5 catches. He found another touchdown, back-to-back weeks with touchdowns. Developing rapport with Rodgers. Those young receivers are going to play. We're not trusting Sammy Watkins to come back before week 11. Cobb was getting his time, but it's Dobbs, and Watson's getting some interesting looks too, but Romeo's is, again, another guy, much like Olave, who should be starting every week if he's on your team.
Yeah. I mean, he found a touchdown this week, and like you said, if he catches that bomb, he's getting close to 100 yards on the day with the touchdown. So he has the opportunities as well.
Yep, the targets are going to go up for him. So.
Another guy who's a touchdown machine so far is Jaydon Dotson, who unfortunately has a hamstring injury that's going to keep him out for 1 or 2 or maybe even 3 weeks.
Yeah,
but
Rivera
he's
said
producing.
Rivera said he's out at least a couple weeks. But yeah, he's got, Crazy Carson throwing him the ball, and they're coming from behind a ton, so they have to air it out. You have to see how he comes back from the injury. Obviously, put him on your IR. Don't even think about dropping Dotson at this point.
It's interesting that the Redskins are the Commanders.
The Commanders, yes.
The Commanders are in a situation where coming into the season, it looked like they had a great chance to possibly, take their division. And now the division's looking like one of the better divisions in the league with the Cowboys, the Giants, Eagles are undefeated. So the Redskins are going to be coming from behind or trying to come from behind a lot.
The Commanders.
Sorry.
We're getting used to it too.
Yeah, we were born in the 80s.
It's not that they're just like, lagging in the division. They're pretty clearly the worst team in that division.
Exactly.
And listen, I don't think the Giants are good, but they're 3-1, and they're feisty. They have a coach that they really like playing for. We'll see where they go with all the injuries that they're piling up there. But yeah, the Commanders need to win one of these next couple weeks. Honestly, the rookie I'm more interested in on the Commanders is Brian Robinson. He's coming back this week. He might be ready to play on Sunday. If not this week, probably the next. It's bad news for Antonio Gibson owners. I think J.D. McKissic will still.
That'd be me.
Me too. J.D. McKissic will still have his third down role. We'll see how Robinson looks, though. But there's a reason he was drafted where he was. He was supposed to be the starter coming in before the very, very unfortunate set of circumstances.
Yeah, they're going to give him opportunities. I mean, they're not really going to be playing for anything this year. He's going to make a great story for them if he's successful coming off that injury. So he's definitely going to get opportunities.
Keep an eye on him.
Yeah. He's one that will probably be available on waivers that will get picked up immediately if he gets 10 plus carries, so he might even be worth stashing for a minute. Also, Breece Hall on the Jets, who's starting to get some more carries.
I mean, remember when Michael Carter was supposed to be the heart and soul of that team?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty much just a carcass at this point because Hall had 17 carries yesterday to Carter's 7, I want to say.
Yeah.
Hall had the game-winning touchdown. Hall is just getting more plays. He's more explosive. He's going to be the one back going forward. Carter is slowly slipping just into handcuff status for me. Hall is not going to be available anywhere. I mean, he was the number 1 pick in pretty much every dynasty league. But it's nice to see him produce this early, and he's going to get a lot of play going forward.
Yeah, they have an interesting situation over there. And then they also have Garrett Wilson, who had an incredible game in week 2. He had over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. He looked amazing. I mean, some of the cuts he was making on the field looked like he was just leaving veteran defenders in the dust. But he's kind of slowed down since then. He hasn't put anywhere close to that performance. But he has Zach Wilson coming in, who's going to be slinging the ball around.
Yeah, he does have a decent amount of competition there. Elijah Moore, we were talking about yards with Olave, air yards. Elijah Moore is right up there in that category too. Corey Davis is still out there. So Wilson's going to be playing. He's going to be playing a ton. I don't know how much we trust Zach Wilson at this point. He did not look fantastic per se. The only person he looked better than yesterday was Mitch Trubisky, which is saying something.
Yeah.
But yeah, Wilson's a guy to keep an eye out. He's super explosive, so he gets, he could be a guy that doesn't need as many opportunities because of what he can do with them. Not necessarily a must start though, like Olave, like Dobbs.
Right. Yeah, we've definitely. I mean, I think there are only a few of those guys, which would be like Pierce, Olave, and Dobbs, and possibly our next guy, Drake London, on the Falcons, who is kind of like Olave, is the number 1 receiver on his team,
prohibitively, and
should be getting the ball a lot. He didn't get the ball a lot yesterday. But his first 3 games, I mean, he had decent output. He has 2 touchdowns. He was getting over, I think, he got over 70 yards his first 3 games up until yesterday.
And yesterday could have been game script. I mean, I think I saw the Falcons hand the ball over something like 17, and hand the ball off 17 times in a row. The next guy on our list, another Falcon, we go back to back with these teams, is a guy that I'm very interested right now, with Tyler Algier, another guy we brought up before the season even started. This is, kind of a circumstantial thing because Cordero's out the next 4 weeks at the very least. Algier had 10 carries, and Huntley, who just got called up from the practice squad, also had 10 carries and did well with them. So from what we're seeing, what we're hearing right now, the same thing everybody else is, Algier is going to get the opportunities. You have a guy who's starting at running back, you try to get him,
Yeah, exactly. It looks like it's kind of a combo situation with those two, but, that's like 10 to 15 carries to pick up and a lot of receptions that Patterson, well, I guess he wasn't getting as many as we thought, but, a lot of carries to pick up. And if Algier performs, then he's probably going to get the workload, He had a good game yesterday.
Yeah.
I think he picked up 80 yards on 10 carries.
10 carries, yeah. He was very solid.
Yeah, so he's a guy that may be on your waiver wire. I mean, there's a few of these players that you can still grab, and he's one of them. Although this week probably a lot of people will be after him. And then the preseason rookie star George Pickens, who had a pretty good game yesterday.
Well, he has the catch of the year so far, at the very least.
And he had the catch of the preseason too.
Yeah, there we go. Pickens kind of goes hand in hand with what's at quarterback. I mean, he's done pretty good things with Mitch, who's not, everybody's favorite, quarterback. Now he has Kenny Pickett, a rookie who, who's talented, who's smart, but it's going to take him time to figure out the schemes, to see what happens. That team is not very good, but that offense has a lot of weapons. I don't know if they're going to start relying more on Najee with the rookie.
I think they are going to. I mean, my inside intel tells me they're going to start relying a little more on Najee because Pickett's going to take time to adjust to the offense. The offense was more kind of designed for Mitch, which I don't know what that really means.
Nobody knows. It's been 6 years. We still have no idea.
Yeah, but the thing is, just seeing Pickett yesterday, I mean, he's not afraid to throw the ball around. He did throw 3 interceptions.
He did, but a couple of those were, long shots. One was at the end of the half. Rookie QBs, there's going to be plenty of mistakes. Does he give Pickens a better chance to have bigger stat lines? I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, Deontay Johnson, sure, we'll see. Claypool's still there as well. Freiermuth is having a very solid season. So if Pickett's an improvement over Trubisky, it should be an improvement for Pickens too.
Yeah, I think the good thing about seeing Pickett is they're going to let him throw the ball. The Steelers are going nowhere this year.
They're a 14-point dog this week. This is the first time they've been a 14-point dog in decades. So,
yeah. And if you have Pickett, the Steelers' next 4 games is it's like the Dolphins, the Bills, the Buccaneers, and someone else who's a winning team. So again, they're going to be throwing the ball.
Let the young guys grow, I guess. Yeah, that's all we can hope for as fantasy owners right now.
Yeah, and then the last guy I want to mention, who's definitely, unless you're in a dynasty league, not on anybody's roster, but has the potential to maybe be that St. Brown type player at the end of the season, is Jameson Williams on the Lions, who you mentioned in the preseason.
I mean, reason the guy was drafted as early as he was probably the best receiver on that Bama team, which is saying something. I mean, he is explosive. That ACL. Those ACL recoveries, prayers up for Javonte Williams right now. But yeah, they're a lot faster than they were. So there's a chance, and a pretty good chance, that Williams comes back at the very end of the year. I'm assuming he's still rostered by some leagues for sure. Some players will have him, but if he's not, he's a sneaky pickup to have in your IR.
Yeah, keep an eye on him. There's no timetable on his return right now, but he's a guy who, if you hit the playoffs, he might be able to pick up 100 yards a game for, when the Lions are making a playoff run as well.
I mean, when you have a top 5 quarterback like Jared Goff, anything is possible.
Man, Jared Goff, or as Jalen Rose calls him, Jared Montana, number 16. So that's it. That's our list of rookies. Appreciate you watching. Don't forget to leave a comment. I'm sure we left someone out. Let us know. Hit the like button. Subscribe. This is Georgia True Factory Fuchs. I'm Kev Lou. Appreciate it. Have a great night. Good luck next week. Peace.
Set up my squad, wake up and pray. Turn on the tube, don't believe what they say. Get out my way, I got sleepers to play. Shooting my shot and I seen who you waved. You waving the flag, I'm just chasing the bag. All my team special, we taking it back. Doing our dance while you blaming the draft. I'm a machine, just stating the facts. I'm a machine, just stating the facts. I'm a machine, just stating the facts. I'm a machine, just stating the facts.